Welcome back. For those of you just joining us, I am Dr. Robin Donaldson, host of Solace Show, where we talk about the nitty-gritty of things most folks don't like to talk about, which is like death, grief, dying, life insurance, all that fun stuff. Before the break, we were talking with, I was talking, we were all talking with each other, but specifically I was talking with Joyce and Darwin Mosen of Trauma Recovery Yoga, TRY, and sort of its evolution and how it is helping people today. Now I'm gonna kind of break that fourth wall a little bit and say that during the break we were talking about a really exciting piece that is happening. If y'all can talk about it, I probably should have asked that first. I'll broaden it so that you can talk about the things that you can talk about. Okay. But what's on the horizon for TRY? What are things that you, kind of based on what you've been able to accomplish so far in the community and where it's headed?
Well, like I was saying, originally we were full of yoga teachers. Then we started attracting people who had experienced trauma as well, and then other helpers, so social workers and things like that. It seems now our classes are more filled, our trainings are more filled with healthcare professionals and behavioral healthcare workers. And to that, in the next step now is that we have local hospitals reviewing our contract and asking for our services. And they have found a way to bring this medicine, because it truly is. It's a therapy, a somatic therapy, a movement therapy. As a matter of fact, we call it mindful movement many times, because it is more of a mindful movement than it is a yoga class, because it can be done lying down, sitting down, or whatever. So now we have our contracts being reviewed by some big hospitals for their psychotic patients, for their people in rehab, for drug rehab, and other behavioral issues, right?
Yep.
So this can be helpful for people dealing with substance use disorders.
Right. And I mean, I don't need to tell you, but most substance use came from something, right? They were trying
Trauma
to feel
background.
better, right? Yeah. Not all,
Right.
but many times it's based we say that everyone's just trying to feel better, and whether that is heroin or violence or those things, there's people trying to feel better or are feeling as though they don't fit in.
Drugs can be a part of that attempt to regulate. So teaching them how to self-regulate can then lessen the dependency, and I love that idea. We didn't mention it before, but I would also imagine that some of these conversations also deal with working with children.
So yeah, right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, tell them about the reinvent thing.
Oh, so currently we do work.
Look at a lot of them.
Hint, wink, wink,
So
nudge, nudge.
we've
Yes.
partnered with the City of Las Vegas now. We'll be rolling into really our third year, second full year, where we work with currently 9 of their reinvent schools. So Reinvent School program is really about reinventing a school and its culture to become a community hub. So the City of Las Vegas is investing in these schools.
They were the worst performing.
Right. Well, yeah. And so, what they would say, social, the high risk or at risk locations for schools.
Okay.
But bottom line is, they needed some help with the kids, and the city wanted to make a difference. So the city, through a grant, is utilizing tools such as gardening and or education on that.
I did read about that.
Right.
Yeah.
And also providing mindful movement to the children so they can connect physically and emotionally with themselves. And we do this in during school hours in a couple of our schools, and then after school hours. But next year the plan is, we believe, in the conversations we're having, to have it all during school hours. So the children can all get the opportunity to experience this.
Oh, wonderful.
There's so many great stories the kids will have about utilizing the techniques of humming or even meditation at home, and or even breathing. The breath work is so important to make a difference when they know that they're activated, because what's great about it, when you go through a practice, you experience a calm in your body. It just is there, but it's always there. And what we do is we provide those children the map on how to get there on their own whenever they need to, and those tools. And we don't child it up. It's a real yoga practice, so that when they go through a real yoga practice, in 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, they're going to have an association with that they're already connected to, and it's not some sunshiny thing.
The kids that we're helping are living in the worst of circumstances, and some are homeless and hungry, and so it's really hard for them to focus on their schoolwork or even
Sure.
have so they have terrible grades and terrible behavior. It would make sense. They're in crisis or living in trauma. And people say to us, well, you can't change their circumstance. No, I cannot.
Right.
No, I cannot. You can't change mine. What happened to me, what happened to me. But I did find this place of peace that I want them to be able to find. It's in each of us. And it's a science-based idea that, that we can, like Darwin said, help them find their way to that space, and then they'll call on it. The little girl said, my parents were fighting the other night, and I did what you taught me. I sat down and I did big breath and then hum, and I calmed down. I didn't have to hear them, and I felt peace. So she didn't say peace. I felt better. But
Right now I'm starting to tear up here.
these children live in what is called a toxic stress situation.
Sure.
And so we all have stress, and where toxic stress is, it's once that stress level is continuous enough or high enough level, it becomes toxic to our bodies.
Sure.
So our bodies have high levels of cortisol, high levels of adrenaline, which over time can compromise our immune system, can compromise everything about us. So we're not only talking about the mental health of these children, we're talking about the literal physical health
like the
and
ACE
mortality of these children throughout their life. From things from diabetes to high blood pressure to digestion issues. There's a laundry list. In fact, 7 of the top 10 killers in the United States have a relational effect from adverse childhood experiences.
Sure, and that makes me think of the shift, as we talked about during break, of mental health in general being integrated with the medical field, simply because the behavioral components as adults are so closely linked to thought patterns, to translate it to behavioral patterns. But as a therapist and going through schooling, I remember we would talk about as a group that nobody taught us how to regulate emotions in kindergarten. Nobody teaches kids how to deal with emotions, how to do the things that we are going to encounter in one form or another later on in our lives. And this just sounds like one of those pieces that it doesn't matter when. Earlier, of course, is better, but being able to have these tools puts you at a much better place later on. It's that resilience thing, that when you do experience adverse events later on in life, you feel like capable of handling it in a better way, as opposed to feeling totally out of control. And so I love that
so
about
on
it.
point. Yeah, Darwin was saying that and that's finding your peace within your body, finding your breath, self-regulating, being able to respond over react is what we're offering. But also that carries through your life, and if I can get you to feel that way during a practice on your own with a video or in a class, then your body will be inclined to follow that path elsewise, like neuro-linguistic programming. And it also on a much we keep finding more benefits as we continue to do it. The kids get along better. I think there's an emotional intelligence component built in without us even expecting that. But when you get them all on the mat and they get to that peaceful place together and they're shouting out their positive affirmations together, I am beautiful, I am intelligent, I am inspiring, I am those things. They hear those things from each other, they share that with each other. There becomes a real idea that we are more alike than we are different. And that I believe that is a major piece in how we attack that mass violence component of our community, our world.
It sounds like a way to build community even within a classroom, and to provide that connection. Now, you did mention some of the tragedies that have impacted our society. I was wondering if you might be able to talk a little bit about the role that you played in, or right after October 1 in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, so
You make me cry.
yeah,
I have tissues right there for you.
after 1 October, we knew that our community, and had all levels of trauma from that. Either people that were directly there, so direct trauma, and or an indirect trauma or secondary trauma, just from helping their family or anything like that. And so something needed to be done. And we have over 200 trained, 200 trained instructors in the TRI method. Some of them from, again, yoga instructors specifically, and or people that are doing mental health. So we reached out to that team, that tribe of people, and we wanted to get yoga practices throughout the community, the TRI method practices throughout the community. So through the generous donation of their time, the yoga instructors went out to these to gyms such as
and to their credit, places like EOS Fitness, True Fusion, Vegas Hot, Absolute Balance. I think that's about it. We had them all over town for free. 705 Art Incubator.
Right.
Some of them are still in those spaces for free.
Oh, wonderful.
But those, the EOS and those bigger places, they gave us 60 days of classes open to the public, no membership, no cost.
Oh,
Just
wow.
come in for trauma recovery yoga. The first thing we did, because and we didn't actually have to reach very far, because our teacher showed up in our living room
Sure.
So
going, what are we going to
Wow.
do?
Wow.
Yeah, there's a very passionate group. The first thing we did was coordinate a love and kindness meditation on Facebook Live feed, and they also broadcasted at the Nevada State College,
Oh, wow.
who we're talking to about their nursing program now.
Excellent.
Right? And we had a lot of people partake in the love and kindness meditation, because that was what we could think to do at that very moment on that day of
Right.
the event. And then after that, bring these people, because we tried to express, and as you know, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right. Right.
absolutely.
And so our teachers are still in it, helping those people. We are in the coroner's office, the fire department, the police department, the 911 operator station. We're helping the helpers and those people that were at Route 91 in the classes that are affordable.
I'm glad that you mentioned again the marathon versus the sprint, especially as it pertains to a lot of those helpers, because I think that so often first responders and helpers in all capacities are often overlooked when it comes to a month down the road, 6 months down the road, and as we get closer and closer to the 1 year anniversary, this trauma stuff, this grief stuff doesn't magically go away. And knowing that there are still things out in the community that you all have helped to put out there that they still have access to, I think is just incredible. And thank you so much for doing all of that. Any thought about expanding beyond Las Vegas?
Oh, how funny.
I'll let the visionary here speak to that.
Okay.
We are going global. There's this, and we don't even mean to. I mean, honestly, all of these things happened as a matter of inspiration and necessity, and not out of strategic planning to start a business. We're a nonprofit. We're seeking corporate sponsors. We have our new event, our big event coming up, our first big fundraiser at the Mall Museum on September 8th.
Yep.
Is this when we get to talk about that? Because I know that, we can earmark it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we'll earmark that.
Okay,
Because I
we'll
want to
earmark
hear
it.
more about
So we
where
have
you're
that
going.
coming
Yes.
up. But yeah,
Okay.
that is to help us to raise the funds to place our teachers out in the community, to train trainers as well. We have a training coming up in Colorado. We are speaking to someone in Spain. That would be
Whoa.
amazing. Yeah. So our phone just, the phone's just ringing, because there are limited resources
Right.
for courses and trainings like this that will travel, that have everything from a 90-second method to a 1 hour method that can be done lying down or on standing on a mat. So the intention is to be global, and especially if we can continue to form this tribe, so that we can deploy people. Like, we're doing that here. We're a source. We have 200 teachers. When people call us and say we need a teacher here, we work with them on all the logistics. We do the sub, we write the contract, we take the payment, we pay the teacher, we vet the teacher, we do all those things.
Wow.
We want to be able to do that in other locations. But I would have loved to send 10 teachers to Florida, to Parkland.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that would be a beautiful.
That's your
way.
vision, like
Right.
one of your visions.
Boots
yes.
on the ground, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like send them there, and then help them in the immediate, and then offer them trainings for the sustainability, so that it's there. I don't want to have you pay me to feed you a fish. I want you to give you the information, because that's how the ripples happen. That's how it really impacts.
I definitely understand why you are considered the visionary, because that sounds like a very huge undertaking, and one that will continue to grow. So to segue now, and if I could get a little help by putting something on the screen for everybody to look at, in order to raise those funds, you're planning to do something extremely exciting in town. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so September 8th, it officially starts at 6:30 p.m., but actually the benefits of our event start the opening of the Mob Museum that day. So we're going to have our event at the Mob Museum, which is wonderful. In fact, it's kind of an interesting connection. You have a Mob Museum, and we're helping people in the community and in the world deal with stress and grief.
And trauma, and one might say that the mob was responsible for a little bit of
one might say that. We've heard rumors about that. Yes,
but, it's a museum, so yes.
And so it's going to be a blast. So if somebody registers for the fundraiser to attend, they first of all get all day attendance to the Mob Museum. So from the time they open until midnight or 1 a.m. whenever they close, they can have full access to the entire Mob Museum.
Oh, wow.
And then with our event, it comes with dinner, it comes with a silent auction, it comes
wine
with
and beer.
It comes also with, we're going to be releasing our mini documentary. And so that'll be the first, that'll be the premiere.
It'll be the premiere of our mini documentary,
Oh, wow.
And then just interactions with, we've got, not the real Frank Sinatra, but we have somebody there that's going to be doing that. As far as the MC, we got some great guest speakers online to talk about what's happened for them in the community and with trauma recovery yoga. So it's going to be a great evening, very fulfilling for everybody, and they will actually get to experience a little bit of
we're
what we
going
do
to
too.
do a little chair in there.
Yeah.
You're gonna need a little
exciting.
self-regulation after the mini doc.
Yes, you will.
Okay,
Yeah.
well that's good, especially for people like me. I'd have a hard time even with sad movies. So okay,
Yeah,
all right. So I will bring all my self-regulatory skills to the event. But that's really neat and very exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting, and it just helps us again to continue our work and continue the growth. There are many places out there that need the help, that in one way or another. They want to help their people, but the funding or whatever that isn't available. Not everybody has a grant writer, not everybody has access to whatever those funds or.
Well, and the other key piece that I know in healthcare and in mental health is that they want to see results. They want to know that if they're paying for something, that it's going to produce something rather quickly. And it sounds like, definitely this is empirically based. There's evidence behind this, and you're getting feedback of almost immediate results of some form or the other, and that is very promising, especially when people are thinking about their checkbooks as well as their budgets for business situations.
Yeah, and it's important. A big catalyst for us even developing trauma recovery yoga and this method was it's important whoever's providing yoga understands the audience that they're working with, and also understands with that there are things that we should and should not be doing. So to throw any yoga instructor out there to just because you think yoga is the thing your people need is very
risky.
Risky, thank you.
And you could make them yoga averse, and then they won't continue to seek the medicine.
Yeah.
Right, and in my own personal experience, it was difficult going through some of those classes when I was in grief, just with the grief piece. So I get that not one size fits all. This is much more tailored, and why it is a better resource overall. So if people wanted to have access to more information about what y'all are doing, how would they find out?
Our website is a great place, www.traumarecoveryyoga.org, and we are also on Facebook as Try Trauma Recovery Yoga.
T.R.
No dots.
Oh, sorry,
just
no dots.
TRY. It won't let you on Facebook.
Good to know.
Try
Really tried
and
that.
then Trauma Recovery Yoga. on Facebook and social media. We're on all the social media, but the website has a contact us. It has all our events and trainings. You can see our fundraiser there. And we're looking for silent auction items for that as well. I got to throw that in there. If anybody has anything they want to donate for silent auction, that'd be great.
And it also has information on the different types of workshops, be they the full extent of 20-hour workshop or even pieces of that an organization might want to bring to their employees or to their people, so they can have to go through an understanding of compassion,
And
fatigue,
many
and
of them are
vicarious trauma.
and many of them are CEU approved for counselors or educators.
Ooh, that's exciting to know as well. Okay. Well, we are closing up on our segment today. I just want to thank you so much, not
you.
just for
Thank
being on
you.
the show, but for all of the work that you have been doing and continue to do. Thank you,
Same
thank
to
you,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. And for those of you out there, I will be on air, if you call it that, on the internet in July 2nd, which is a Monday, 12 p.m. PST. All right, y'all take care. And always remember, you don't have to journey alone.